any B2B dealing will have core problem and non-core problem. What are the core problems? The core problems are, let's say you're talking about employee gifting. What does it solve? The problem it's solving is high attrition rate, low employee motivation, low morale, people not joining the organization because they don't know what this company is about, and those kind of things, right? So that is a problem. That's a core problem that a particular gift can, let's say you're into making mementos or trophies or awards or something. We can help you improve employee engagement or help you improve employee retention or something like that. Then that is the core problem. Okay. Then there is the non-core problem. The non-core problem is B2B buying is very, very complex. The person approving the finance is very different. There may be somebody from legal who may be getting involved. There are multiple decision makers which are there, right? And typically in this decision making is very complex. So if there are ways in which you can help your buyer, who is your, let's say your HR manager or the marketing manager or the sales manager, to be able to navigate through all of these things by giving them enough material so that they're able to get a buy-in from all of these people, that could be one of the problems that could be solved.
Namaste. This is dreamBIG, a podcast series by deAsra Foundation, featuring expert conversations to empower and help nano and small business owners grow. And in this podcast series, we bring to you real insights, valuable stories, and experiences to help you grow faster, smarter, and stronger. I'm your host, Spoorthi, and today's podcast, we are going to deep dive into a very creative and high potential space, corporate gifting and B2B opportunities. In today's podcast, we have with us Mr. Shrikanth Acharya, the founder of OffiNeeds, one of India's leading corporate gifting companies. With over 20 years plus experience and providing corporate gifting solutions and product solutions to 2,000 plus companies in India. In today's podcast, we are going to deep dive into the corporate gifting world, and it is amazing and lovely to have you here, sir.
Thrilled to be here.
Welcome. So let us get started with today's podcast.
Let's get going.
Let us begin with the basics.
Yeah.
A lot of business owners know what gifting is, but not necessarily why it matters so much in corporate as well as B2B scenario. So can you tell us what exactly is corporate gifting and how it has evolved over the years?
Yeah, thank you so much, Spoorthi. It's an honor and a privilege to be on this podcast. And I think that's a great place to start this podcast with, right? I've been in the corporate gifting space for 20 years and I've seen it really evolve. But I think let's take the opportunity to understand what is corporate gifts and why are businesses giving out corporate gifts. So we can classify pretty much anything that a business gives out to anybody, any gifts that are being given out to anybody as corporate gifts for the purpose of building relationship, brand building, employee engagement, and so on. Right. So let's understand who are these businesses giving gifts to. Businesses are giving gifts to their employees. Businesses are giving gifts to their customers. Businesses are giving gifts to their sales channel partners and dealers and so on. And maybe even sometimes to government officials, journalists, influencers, and that kind of thing. And the purpose of giving out these gifts is different with these different segments, right? Why do they give gifts to employees? Organizations want to make the employees feel special, feel valued, and engage them better, improve their employer branding. These are some of the reasons why organizations want to give out gifts to employees so that their employee retentions are higher, attritions are reduced, they're able to hire better talent, and so on, right? Why are companies giving out gifts to their customers to strengthen that relationship, to be able to communicate to their customers that the relationship that we have with you is really valuable and we appreciate that you're bringing your business to us, and so on. Why are they giving out gifts to their sales partners and channel partners? To again appreciate the fact that that particular sales partner could have chosen multiple brands. The fact that you have chosen to work with us and to reciprocate that effort that they're putting in. Corporate gifts are a very, very powerful tool. Now, it's like, why do you give gifts in weddings, right? You can just go and shake hands and give a bouquet and give them a hug, right? That's what matters most. But all that feeling that you have, that emotion that you have, the words that you want to say, they're all intangible in nature, right? As much as they express what you want to communicate, after a while, they just don't exist, right? So to mark that moment and to make that moment increase the lifespan of that moment, let's say you completed 5 years with that organization, it means the world to you if the CEO comes, pats you on the back and says great things about you in front of the entire audience. But the next day it is gone, right? So if that's marked along with a gift pack or along with a memento which is sitting on your desk and reminding you about that moment, it extends the lifetime of that particular moment. And more such moments together increase the brand value or the relationship with that brand. So I would say that corporate gifts are a very powerful tool to be able to improve brand building, employee engagement, consumer engagement, sales or dealer engagement, or to be able to enhance the lifetime of that relationship which we have, and to be able to enhance the quality of that relationship. So corporate gifting, in my view, is the only tangible tool to be able to do this.
So can I tell that corporate gifting is as important as we give gifts in personal life?
Absolutely. Actually, maybe much more important because they result in business outcomes, financial outcomes.
Okay. So moving on to the next section, who typically engages in corporate gifting? Is it just large MNCs or also startups and, mid-sized companies?
Actually, every organization does corporate gifting. This is a myth that is there, that only large MNCs or large companies do corporate gifting. That is, as far from the truth as possible. The budget, the frequency, the kind of gifts might vary from sector to sector, from company to company. But I think every single business, we have plenty of MSME customers also who do a lot of gifting. Who they gift to and what they gift might be different, right? Some companies, if they are having challenges in building a sales channel and they want a very, very important distributor and they want to build a relationship with a particular type of distributor, they will invest more into gifting in the sales or the distributor channel. Whereas if some companies have value some top customers, some of their highest valued customers, they want to send out gifts to that particular customer. And it may not be round the year. Some companies do it round the year. Some companies, they do it only during Diwali or annual day or any such particular events which could be there. But it's absolutely not right to think that only large MNCs do it, but they become visible because they're really large.
Okay. So right now we covered, the basics of, what is corporate gifting, why is it important, and who all give gifts in the corporate world. So moving on to the next question, how should one approach a corporate for corporate gifting opportunities? What is the procedure? What is the ideal way to pitch the product? Sometimes, you don't know the situation, what kind of product to pitch.
Yeah.
What is, the best way to handle it and get into it if you're starting new?
Yeah, that's a great question, Spoorthi. Before I answer that question, I think let's try and understand what is the product that is being given out as a corporate gift, because that will lay the right premise to be able to understand who to reach out to and how to reach out to them, right? Okay. So the good news is that anything can be a corporate gift, right? No matter what it is that you're doing, a cake is a corporate gift, a bouquet is a corporate gift. If you're selling handkerchiefs, that could be corporate gifts. If you're selling custom-made socks, that could be corporate gifts. If you're selling electronics, that's a corporate gift. Bikes, cars, electronics are corporate gifts. Home appliances are corporate gifts. Edibles, chocolates and popcorns and healthy snacks are corporate gifts. There's probably hardly any product that I can think of which is not ideal for a corporate gift, right? That's good news. But having said that, not every corporate gift is for everyone, right? That is the point that all of us need to understand. It's important to find your niche in corporate gifting. It's important to know, for example, let's say you have a product which is a great car accessory, right? Let's say it's a car vacuum cleaner, or let's say it's a car organizer or something like that, which is there. Is it a good corporate gift? Yes, absolutely. Now, who is it a good corporate gift for, right? It needs to begin with who would really appreciate this. Now, somebody who would appreciate this are car owners. Now, which are the kind of businesses that have access to car owners, who want to gift to car owners? Probably companies which are in the automobile sector. So probably companies like who have car showrooms, who deal with used cars. Maybe companies which are in the service business. Maybe companies which are selling club membership to high net worth individuals who have cars. Thinking like that. So if you're able to say that, so where people make the mistake is they take their product and think everybody needs it. That's not right. So a lot of companies, let's take the example of this car accessories, right? People think that I can give it to employees, but not all employees may have cars, right?
Yes.
So you need to find the target audience who would really appreciate get that gift, and find out which company or which business would like to give to that sector. So understand your sector, understand what your product is, understand your audience who loves it the most. Let's say you are in the organic, food, or healthy snacks kind of a segment. You might think, hey, everybody wants healthy snacks. That is true. But which is the business which associates with the concept of healthy snacks, right? Probably gyms, probably somebody who's in the fitness equipment, or somebody who is promoting fitness of some kind, or somebody who is organizing a marathon, or somebody like that who wants to associate with fitness as a category. Okay. So I would say, yes, every single product is a great corporate gifting idea, but it's not for everyone, right? A great way to start is to be able to identify that narrow niche of audience. The big mistake I think a lot of entrepreneurs of all scale, and especially small and nano entrepreneurs make, is they think everybody is my customer. No, okay. Everybody is not your customer. You need to be able to narrow it down to say who is your audience. So for example, if you say I'm into ladies' handbags, right? Is it a good corporate gift? Yes, it could be a good corporate gift, but only for that company whose target audience are women who are meeting the similar, social or status or the symbol as that particular bag is. If it's a very expensive bag, then you need to go to a company which is targeting, wealthy women. Okay. If it's a value for money bag, you want to go to a business which is targeting women who are, working women or housewives or something like that. So you need to know who your audience is, who will love this, and then find that company who has them as their clients or their employees or their customers or whatever it is, and pitch to that segment. The mistake what people make is thinking that everybody needs my product, so let me go to the biggest multinational company that I have and pitch it. Then you're pitching it wrong, right? You're targeting it to the wrong audience. So if the consumer who would buy that product is not the person getting that gift, then that corporate gifting is never going to fly.
Okay. So not every product gift is for everyone.
Absolutely correct.
And since you're talking about this, can I ask you, many of them who are starting off, startups, they're new to business. Let's say they want to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And don't know where to begin at all.
Yeah.
So how do, small businesses, nano businesses find and define their niche?
Yeah.
Since we are talking about specific products to specific categories, how did you decide?
Yeah.
Or how can nano businesses, small businesses decide their niche?
Yeah. I think that's a great point. Finding your niche is the most important thing, whether you're doing a B2C business or a B2B business. Mm-hmm. Finding your niche is the most important thing. We keep going back to the story of how Amazon started selling with books, right? Okay. They started selling books. They didn't start selling everything, right? Flipkart in India started selling books. They focused only on that particular category and they became really, really good at it. Even at OffiNeeds, we have found our niche in employee gifting. Right? Corporate gifting happens everywhere, right? You can give gifts to, educational institutions give gifts, manufacturing sectors give gifts, international export gift opportunities exist. There's a world of opportunities which is there. We chose our niche as employee-specific gifting and for a particular kind of employee, IT and knowledge-driven employee kind of a gift set. So you need to find your niche. Think of it as, finding your niche is a different, it's a very elaborate exercise, But think of this, if there is a target and those rings are there and you have, the bow and arrow, you will aim for the middle, right? You'll always aim for that middle. You'll not say, I hit anywhere on the board, it's okay. I want to aim for that red bullseye. Exactly. But if I miss the bullseye and I go to the first ring or second ring, I wouldn't mind, but I'm aiming for the bullseye. So you need to have that clarity saying exactly who your target audience is and make it narrower. If you tell yourself that everybody is my target audience, right? You are really fooling yourself. Think about demographic is your target audience. What is it? Male, female? Is it kids? Is it are they what sector are they? Are they in tier 1 cities, tier 2 cities? And what is their lifestyle? What is their earning income? What is their spending income? What are their lifestyle habits? Where do they spend their money? Where do they spend their time? What are their passions? What are their challenges? What are their inhibitions? What are their hobbies? Think about all of those kind of things and build an ideal customer profile and make it as narrow as possible. Start with a small market. Say, I'm going to go after this market where I'm able to serve. So let's say your office is in Pune. Then don't target clients who are in Bangalore or Mumbai or something, because it's going to be harder to serve them, right? So look for markets which will love your product more naturally and doesn't need, more convincing and more pushing. The lesser the resistance, the better it is. And also a market which you are well positioned to be able to serve in terms of geography and in terms of access to the market and things like that.
Okay. So now, since we are in the topic of starting a business, can we go a little off script and listen how you got into corporate gifting and how you started OffiNeeds? A little bit of inspiration to all our watchers.
It's a really funny story how I got into corporate gifting. I've been running this business for about 20 years now. I'm an engineer by qualification. I studied, I live in Bangalore. I studied engineering in a college called SIT Tumkur, which is about 60 kilometers away from Bangalore. I got campus recruited into Infosys, and I was working at the Infosys. This was from 2004 to 2005. And I love playing pranks. Okay. So on 1st April 2005, I played a prank. I told everyone that I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start a business on my own. Now, today, entrepreneurship is more accepted and things like that, right? But back in 2005, it was unheard of. Somebody working in an organization as prestigious as Infosys would never leave their jobs, right? And my goal was to just get that reaction, get people to be shocked and things like that. I got exactly that reaction. Everybody was like really shocked. They thought I'm crazy. They tried convincing me out of it. They said, "Why do you want to leave your job? Are you out of your mind?" And a lot of people, including my parents, totally flipped out, and I got that reaction. And eventually somebody asked, "Okay, what business are you going to start?" I had not thought the prank would go so far. I had not thought what I will tell them when they ask that, right? But on the spot, I blurted out, "I'm starting a corporate gifting company." The reason why I said that is a couple of weeks prior to that, I got a t-shirt from Infosys, which I wore over the weekend when I went to meet some of my friends. And that one of the guys was in the garment business. And he said, "Hey, you're wearing a Infosys t-shirt. Do you know that whoever got that order, it must have been a big order. You would have got an order for thousands of t-shirts." I said, "Okay." And the conversation, somewhere the word corporate gifting came up, and that was there just on top of my mind. So I blurted out, "I'm going to start a corporate gifting company." Then came a barrage of questions saying, "What is corporate gifting? Who's going to buy? Why are they going to buy from you? How are you going to source? How will you build the team? How will you that?" And I just went on answering whatever came to the top of my mind. I was not serious about it, right? But whatever, again, the intent was to keep the prank going as long as I could. And end of the day, I told everyone, "Hey, it was just a prank. I'm going to come back to office. Don't worry," and things like that. But then it got me thinking, while answering all those questions, I kind of formed a business plan in my head. And I was like, "Okay, let's give it a try. Let's see what happens." And I thought over it for a couple of months and then put in my papers and started a corporate gifting company. And I got pretty lucky. The joke is still on. It's 20 years. We're still doing okay.
Lovely. So from a very harmless prank came a business idea.
That is true.
Okay. My next question to you would be, when you started, did you go directly to corporate clients or go via resellers? Now, my question to that would be, should nano businesses, our viewers who are into small scale and nano businesses, should they sell directly to corporate clients or work with resellers or aggregators? What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think that's another fantastic question, Spoorthi. And when we started, we definitely didn't work with resellers because we ourselves were resellers. We didn't have core product offerings on our own. What we did is and even to this day, we are a corporate gifting generalist. That means we offer a very wide range of products for clients from pretty much every category. There are about 50 to 60 categories across which we offer products and about 400 to 500 brands that we deal with. So our strength is that we offer a wide gamut of products. and end clients like that. So the answer to that question, whether you should work directly with corporates or through resellers, would again depend on who your customer is, right? And identifying that exactly the audience for whom this will be a great gift is what it will begin with, right? And to start with, I would say put in that hard work to find that specific audience and bag at least one or two clients. Let's say you are in the business of making high quality chocolates or high quality desserts or something like that, right? You would think, hey, who doesn't like desserts? Everybody loves desserts, right? But therein lies the mistake that you think everybody wants to gift desserts. That may not be the truth, right?
Okay.
So who might want to gift desserts? So if you think about it, and I'm just putting up a hypothetical situation here, I would say maybe if it's a premium luxury kind of a dessert which is there, maybe a resort or an upscale hotel would like to give gifts to guests who come and stay with them, right? So that they can take it as a memorabilia, or they would like to give it in their rooms so that the customers feel better and things like that. So try and identify, test it out. Which are the other markets which may want to give these gifts out, and why they would want to gift it out and things like that, right? Maybe it will be a great thing to offer as a part of the honeymoon suite or something like that. So think very specific, very niche, and reach out to those customers and pitch them the benefit. Why is this a great fit for their consumers? Don't just think about selling your product. Think about the value add that this gift could do to their customers or to their employees or to whom they would like to give that out as a gift, right? So the initial few pitches, and you do it to different segments, and then once you get a success, right, you will see that, hey, this particular segment worked. You realize that hotels with 4-star and 5-star rating are liking this, right? Then to scale that up, either you can say, okay, let me go to all the 4-star, 5-star hotels, but maybe you have other businesses. You have a B2C business, you have your own channels, and corporate gifting is one arm. In that case, you can find people who are already selling something to 4-star and 5-star hotels. So let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4 customers whom you have acquired. What about you're going to a distributor who is in a similar line of business who already has 100 5-star hotels or 100 upscale hotels?
So
can you partner with them? Go to them then, right? So once you have before you have a proof of concept, if you go to a reseller, it's mostly not going to work because you are expecting the reseller to do all the groundwork, right? But whereas if you do your groundwork right, if you acquire 2, 3, 4 proof of concept clients and get testimonials from them and show that this model really works, and then build a partnership saying, hey, look, you already have these kind of customers, and don't go to every reseller or every partner, right? Go to that particular partner who specializes in dealing with that set of customers, who already has those set of customers as those set of companies as their clients. Then partner with that customer. That's the approach that I would say.
Okay. Since we're talking about value addition and providing solutions to your customers, my next question to you would be, see, before offering a solution, you have to understand the problem, right? So what are some common pain points companies face in corporate gifting, and how do small vendors spot them?
Yeah, I think again, that depends on the segment and the sector which you're serving, right? And it's really important that you deep dive and understand with that problem solving approach, not selling my products approach, right? Businesses are truly about solving problems. And if your product or your service happens to solve that problem, great, right? Because customers are never buying products. They are buying solutions to their problems. So think about what is it that your product really solves, right? If you're gifting it to consumers, what will make the consumers want to come back to that brand? If you're gifting it to employees, what will make the employee feel very proud about that organization, right? So the core problem, there is a core. Let's talk about the core problem and the non-core problem, right? Any B2B dealing will have core problem and non-core problem. What are the core problems? The core problems are, let's say if you're talking about employee gifting, what does it solve? The problem it's solving is high attrition rate, low employee motivation, low morale, people not joining the organization because they don't know what this company is about and those kind of things, right? So that is a problem. That's a core problem that a particular gift can, let's say you're into making mementos or trophies or awards or something. That is the core problem that is being solved, right? So if you're able to position to your customer, that we can help you improve employee engagement or help you improve employee retention or something like that, then that is the core problem. Then there is the non-core problem. The non-core problem is B2B buying is very, very complex, right?
Okay.
If you think about it, there are multiple gatekeepers, there are multiple decision makers. The user is somebody who is different. The person approving the finance is very different. There may be somebody from legal who may be getting involved. There are multiple decision makers which are there, right? And typically in this decision making is very complex. So if there are ways in which you can help your buyer, who is your, let's say, your HR manager or the marketing manager or the sales manager, to be able to navigate through all of these things by giving them enough material so that they're able to get a buy-in from all of these people, that could be one of the problems that could be solved.
Okay.
Timelines could be another big problem that could solve. Corporate gifting somehow is, in a lot of sectors, is an urgency driven business, right? People think about the
Last
event.
minute.
Yeah, it's last minute a lot of times, right? So if you are able to give that assurance saying, hey, come to us last minute, we'll still support you. That could be a problem that is there. There could be packaging could be a problem. Logistics could be a problem. Home delivery, customers might, let's say you have to send out gifts to 100 people and they're not assembling at one point. You need it to be home delivered. Then it's less about the product, but about somebody who can manage the home delivery more efficiently. So think about this. There are core problems which need to be solved, which is the main thing that your product promises to offer so that it improves brand building, employee engagement, consumer engagement, customer acquisition, something like that. Then there is the non-core problem, which could be, the quality of the product or some certification of the product or, maybe FSSAI certification is required or maybe the data security related to this product or home delivery or logistics or timeliness or something like that, right? So these are the problems that you are able to address. You're in business.
Okay. So you were mentioning about multiple stakeholders. So my next question is based on that. Generally, who's the key decision maker in corporate, and do they entertain small players?
Okay, so there is no one way to say that, right? Again, I will take you back to how well are you solving that person's problem, right? And who is the key? Before we get to who the key stakeholder is, you need to deep dive and understand your niche even better. Who are they gifting it to, right? So for example, in any organization, if the gift is being given to the employee, then maybe the HR manager or there might be an employee engagement specialist or a corporate communication manager is the person whose job is to make sure that the employees are more engaged, employees are more motivated. They're even within that, if it's a large organization, the person hiring might be somebody different. The person doing learning and development might be somebody different. The person who's in charge of engaging customer employees who have been there for a longer time might be different. Somebody who handles events might be different. So there might be different stakeholders who might be there within the same organization. But in the same organization, if they're giving it to their top tier customers, customer engagement specialist might be somebody else who might be different. So there is almost never a one single person who is a decision maker. So it may be more confusing to the audience to think that, hey, I'm still really confused. I don't know who to reach out to. But that's the nature of B2B. If it is a larger organization, there are more stakeholders and it is more complex to be able to identify who does what. Smaller organizations, maybe there are fewer decision makers. It may be the marketing manager or the CEO or chief marketing officer or somebody like that who may be a decision maker. But invariably, in most organizations, there will be multiple decision makers. There will be one person, at least 4 kinds of decision makers. One is the user who is going to be in charge of distributing these gifts in the last mile, who could be the HR manager or somebody like that. Okay. There could be somebody else who is in charge of the documentation, somebody from the purchase team or the procurement team who's in charge of making sure that the right vendor is chosen, vendor onboarding and all that kind of stuff. There might be somebody else from finance who's in charge of issuing purchase orders, managing the budgets and things like that. And there might be somebody who's the leader who's the owner of this particular project, if it's an event or something. So it's much more complex and very difficult to be able to address in one setting. But it's important to understand that, think of it like deciding something for a wedding which is happening in the family. There'll be multiple. It's not just the bride or the groom, right? It's the father, auntie, grandfather. There'll be so many people who will have their own decisions and their own points of view that they'll bring onto the table. It's like that. And it's a unique skill to be able to win everybody's heart. And if there are at least 50-60% of the stakeholders who are rooting for you, then the chances of you getting the order are high.
Wow. This is such a deep dive conversation we are having. And our viewers definitely are getting a lot of value from this conversation. And moving on to the next question, since we are discussing about B2B, could you simplify the B2B sales cycle for our listeners and especially those who are new to this world called as corporate gifting?
Yeah, it'll be difficult to simplify, but let me try my best to help you understand what B2B sales entails. But before I do that, I think it's important to understand the B2B buying cycle. So let's understand what is the difference between B2C and B2B. B2C is where an individual is buying for himself or herself. Let's say Spoorthi decides to buy something for herself, right? Let's say a pair of jeans or backpack or sunglasses or whatever it is. It's almost entirely your decision. Maybe you may take some opinion from somebody, your friend or a social media influencer or from anybody, but ultimately it's your decision. You got to like the product. You got to decide where to buy from. You got to decide whether this amount is okay. You will decide whether you will pay using your credit card, UPI or cash or whatever it is. And you are the person who is going to use it and wear it and like it or not like it or anything like that, right? Yeah. So that's why when it comes to B2C, it's a relatively simple buying cycle, so to say. Okay. But in B2B, it's not like that. Let's take the example of a car showroom. A car dealer wants to give out gifts to anybody who buys a new car, right? Let's understand what the sales cycle is. Now, the head of sales or the director of sales or the director of that particular car dealer showroom says, okay, we need to improve the number of conversions, or we want to make sure that the people buying cars here let's say that's the goal, right? Let's say the people who are buying cars here, I want them to take pictures and put it up on social media and tag our car dealership and say that that's the goal. The goal was never to give a gift to the car the car buyer. The goal is to get them to take a picture, put it out and share it on social media. That's the goal which is there. And who had this goal? The head of sales or head of the organization or whatever it is. Now he or she put somebody in charge. Who is the person who they put in charge? Maybe somebody in marketing or somebody in customer experience or somebody like that. Will say your job to do this. Mm-hmm. So this person says, okay, now how do I go about it? Let me talk to the admin person and they will suggest to me who are the vendors which we can explore, right? Okay. So the admin person says, okay, these are the 4 or 5 vendors who are there with whom we are empaneled. In case you don't like what they have to offer, we have to identify new vendors and let's empanel them. Okay. Now, this particular person, let's say the marketing guy who has to be in charge, the end recipient of this is none of these 3 people. It's the buyer who's the consumer who's getting it. Okay. And then he or she has to make sure that it is meeting the boss's goals, who is the sales guy. Mm-hmm. Make sure that the admin person is happy with the vendor who is being chosen. Make sure that the finance person is happy that it is meeting all of these goals. And make sure that the recipient, who's the end customer is getting, is happy with this gift, right? Okay. So there are too many decision makers who are there. It's somewhat like buying a gift for when a wedding is happening, right? The bride or the groom may not be the ultimate decision maker. The mama, mommy, the chachi, the grandma, the wedding organizer. There might be so many other people who would be having a role to play in that. So it is a very, very complex buying decision, and the motivation and the goal for each person is different. Like for the admin manager, the goal is, hey, this vendor has to be compliant and he needs to make sure that he's giving the best possible prices and all. Okay. The goal for the head of sales or director of sales or anything is, I want more and more people to put up pictures on the social media. The finance director's goal is that this should come within the budget. We should not overspend it. The end consumer's goal is, hey, I want a great gift. And the person coordinating all of this, I want all of these people to be happy ultimately, right? Okay. So you need to know whom you are talking to and understand what their motive is, because mostly, if you look at it, nobody's motive was to give this gift to this person. Each person had a different motive. So that's where B2B sales is very, very different. You need to know who. You might not have access to everybody and you might not understand what is whose goal. But with experience, at least you should be cognizant of the fact that there are so many decision makers and different people have different goals that they want to achieve. Some people's goal is, let's just hope my boss doesn't scream at me, right? So you need to understand what their goal is, and align with that and position that as their as the solution for it.
So can I visualize this as not a linear process, but like a mind map, like
Yes.
there are different parts that are connected?
Absolutely, yes. It is that complex. There is no way to say, let's make this simple, because making it simple basically means we need to change the buying behavior, and that's not in your control really, right? So what you can do to make it simple is understand, first of all, acknowledge and understand that this is a complex process. Let's say the guy who had to make that decision loved the product. He said, oh, I think this is amazing. But he took it to his boss and he said, this is not what we want. Right. And just like that, the entire decision gets changed. Right. So it is the way to the first step, I would say, is to acknowledge that this is a complex process and understand the different buyers who are there within that organization and what motivates each one of them.
Okay.
A lot of times we tend to think pricing is what motivates them. I mean, for one or two people, pricing is important, but that's not the ultimate goal, right? You get the cheapest product. Is it serving the ultimate goal of, the consumer putting it up on social media? No.
That is quite a complex process, but you simplified it for us as simple as possible. So my next question related to this would be, we're talking about processes and all. Sometimes mistakes do happen. So what are some common mistakes small businesses make when approaching big companies in like corporate gifting?
Yeah. So again, I think the first mistake that almost all businesses make is they go to the biggest possible company. They think that in this company has tens of thousands of employees, or it's a multi-million-dollar company, and let me go to them. I think that is the wrong approach in the first place. Why it is wrong? That approach is wrong is for two reasons. One is, first of all, is your product a great fit for that particular organization, that particular industry or sector or anything. Second of all, the larger the organization, more complex the buying behavior. You don't know who the decision maker is and things like that. And you might just go in circles and circles unless you know the right person. That person is your neighbor, or you play cricket with them or tennis with them or whatever it is, and they're trying to help you navigate through that maze. Unless that happens, going blindly and saying, let me go for the biggest organization possible is a very, very big mistake. Go with the approach of saying, understanding who is the customer. Think of whatever product it is that you have, right? Let's say, for example, your product is something to do with divinity. Let's say it is something like a puja material or flowers or incense sticks or something which is related to divinity. Now, a lot of corporates might want to stay away from religious, right? So, but there may be a lot of other companies who want to give this particular thing. They want to associate with prayers or with spirituality or something like that. Go after that segment, right? So I would say don't go after every single corporate. Every single corporate may not want your product. Go after that specific niche who really appreciates what your product is all about and which already aligns with their line of business.
Okay. So most important of all is niche positioning.
Yes.
Most common mistakes can be avoided by that.
Yeah. Most common mistake I see is spray and pray. Just send it out to everybody. We'll send mass messages, mass emails to everybody, and let's keep our fingers crossed that somebody will respond.
So since we have addressed most of the topics, my last question to you would be, can you walk us through 5 practical, real life examples of businesses across the industry using gifting well, or at least top 3?
Okay, let's try to do this. I think this is going to be an interesting exercise, and I'm hopeful that it's something that our audience will find useful. And let's try to look at it from 2-3 angles. One, let's look at the customer, buyer, or the organization who's buying angle, and let's look at 1 or 2 from the seller point of view. Let's say educational institutions, right? Let's talk about so let's begin with the premise. Again, what I said is every business needs gifts, and it's not just businesses. Okay, let's expand the scope of corporate gifting a little bit more into bulk purchasing of gifts. So weddings are a great opportunity, and birthdays, housewarming ceremonies, all these kind of personal events are also great opportunities. They're not businesses, but still it is a B2B kind of a situation where they're purchasing in bulk. right? Let's try and explore with that context. Let's try to understand. Let's take the example of educational institution, right? Now, do educational institution give out gifts? Absolutely, yes. Who are they giving out gifts to and why? If you start thinking from that point of view, right? Maybe they may not give so much gifts to students, but maybe they during events, they fests, college fests and school fests, when that happens, awards are given out, and there's a requirement for printed magazines and those kind of things, which is there. And students want to build their custom design, their hoodies and t-shirts, so that it aligns with that particular fest and all of that kind of stuff, right? And then also could be, there's a lot of guest faculty that they invite. I think every week there is an event which is happening in a college or anything, and they'll invite somebody from the industry, somebody from the government, somebody from other institutions, and they will want to felicitate them with different things, right? It could be a shawl, it could be that something traditional, it could be a plant, it could be any of those kind of things, right? So it's good to think from the sector point of view, what are they gifting? So if you are a plant supplier or a shawl supplier or any of these kind of things which you spoke about, right? That's a good way to align yourself with that particular organization. Again, do that with educational institutions who you can really serve, who are in your locality. Don't go after everyone, right? So be very, very focused on who it is that you want to reach out, right? So I hope that makes sense. That's one example, right? Another example is weddings, which we spoke about, right? Weddings are an amazing industry. India is known for its big fat weddings, right? People are spending, lakhs, sometimes even crores of rupees on weddings. We saw the Ambani wedding, which is just not getting over at all. But there are plenty of weddings on every scale and every demographic that is there. And then there could be requirement for return gifts which could be given out. So along with invitations are becoming so elaborate that the invitation itself is like a gift, right? So if you think about it, what is it that they want to achieve? They want to send out some message. It might be a status message, or it might be some kind of a symbolism, or it might be something to give an indication to the invitee that, hey, this wedding is going to be grand, so you must come, or something like that, right? Think about what is it that the bride and the groom and the family wants to communicate to the people who they want to invite, right? So that itself is a big audience. If you are able to fulfill that need of theirs, right? If you're able to personalize it with their expectations that they want to match, what it is, I cannot tell you. Go and try it out. Go meet somebody who is having a wedding and see if you're able to match their expectations, right? So these are a couple of examples from the buyer side of things, right?
Okay.
Then from the seller side of things, a good way to think of it, let's say you are manufacturing something that is healthy for you. There is no sugar, it's all organic, there is no chemicals, there is no preservatives and those kind of things. It's some kind of locally produced, say, I don't know, chickies or some kind of edibles with a lot of history. Let's say Lonavala chickies are very, very popular, known, and it has a geotag to it and things like that, right? Let's say that is the case, right? Now think about who might really, really appreciate it. Okay, so if we talk about who might appreciate it is, let's say we spoke about healthy and it has, I don't know, high protein or whatever, some kind of health benefits. And it is also having a geotag. That means it is authentic. It is the specialized to that, locally sourced and things like that, right? So let me think out loudly, right? There are two kinds of people who might appreciate it. One is people who are into fitness, people who are really conscious about their health and things like that. So where are these people? Maybe they are part of some marathons, triathlons. Maybe they are part of some kind of a fitness group, cycling group, running group, or gyms or trekking groups or something like that, right? So companies who organize these kind of events might be good organizations for you to reach out to and see if they'd be interested in this. Maybe even gyms, would they like to make a welcome pack for somebody who is who's joining the team, or maybe they would like to sell this or something like that. Another audience could be what about, let's say, foreign delegates who are coming to the Pune or the Maharashtra region, and you want to give them something that is authentic to that so that they can take back, right? Souvenirs to that. So now who are the people who are getting a lot of these foreign delegates? Maybe hotels where there are international delegates who are staying, maybe IT companies, or maybe some kind of manufacturing industries who are getting a lot of these foreign delegates. Now you need to let's say you say, hey, I think foreign delegates are my audience. Now you need to say, okay, in this manufacturing division, who is in charge of welcoming these foreign delegates? It's not everybody. You need to somehow find out that particular person in corporate communications or in marketing who's in charge of welcoming these foreign clients and things like that. So that's the approach that needs to be taken.
Okay.
Right? You asked for 3. I got you 3. I hope that makes sense.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming to this podcast series, adding so much value to our viewers and the foundation and this series. Thank you so much. And to our viewers, this is dreamBIG, a podcast series by deAsra Foundation. And this is your host, Spoorthi, signing off.